Lazarus Planet wasn't enough. We're going to have a nightmare-themed DC Comics event coming up in the not-too-distant future. We've got some details on this. There's nothing about this that is original to comic books at a minimum, and certainly not original to DC Comics. They've been playing with this theme for a very long time. Do you remember You're the Villain? Where basically everything became villainous nightmares within DC Comics for like 6 months or something stupid like that. That was a bad idea. Dark Knight's Metal, people liked. People hated Dark Knight's Death Metal. People hated Batman Nightmares. Certainly didn't like Heroes in Crisis. And I don't know. I'm not excited for this. I can't even pretend. I wish I could pretend to really give a crap about this, but I will give you the details that I have. And some opinions, there is a lot of stuff that I'm going to have to read through because there are a lot of comic books here. And I will tell you this up front when it comes to Night Terrors. When you read the information that DC Comics gave out regarding the series, there is more text dedicated to who are creating the variant covers than the actual explanation of what the story is. If that lets you know just exactly what DC Comics was shooting for with DC Night Terrors, of course, we all knew that because the jig is up. DC Comics sales are in the toilet, and I don't blame people for bailing on DC Comics. I blame DC for all this, and this is going to fail as well, but let's get to the details. Night Terrors will plunge the DC universe into darkness and force heroes and villains alike to confront their own worst nightmares following the arrival of a deadly new villain named Insomnia. Having announced a number of 2-issue Night Terrors miniseries starring villainous characters like the Joker and Poison Ivy, DC has now revealed new miniseries featuring heroes such as Batman, Superman, Zatanna, and more. They only spelled it Night Terrors with a K, so people would think it was a Batman event, which obviously it's not. Although there's a pretty good chance that Batman ends up beating Insomnia in the end because he is Batman, and they don't have any other heroes that are hot right now. Oh, whatever, man. That's the details we got. Let's get into these series, and maybe by the end I can pretend like I can. Night Terrors Batman #1 comes from Josh Williamson and artist Guillaume March. Ever since becoming Batman, Bruce Wayne has been a creature of the night. But now, trapped in the nightmare realm, Bruce is stalked by the horror he created. Can he escape before his own nightmare pulls him deeper into the darkness? Yep, never seen that story before. We're not even in the middle of anything like that right now with Chip Zdarsky, the writer of Batman, and good thing we hadn't seen Batman in his own like dream world with an issue from who did Worlds Without a Justice League Batman. It wasn't Tom King. He did Superman, which is basically a nightmare. But we're getting that story again. But Joshua Williamson is writing this time. The good news is Guillaume March is illustrating it, so it will look horrifying and look really, really good because he's an awesome artist. And Joshua Williamson isn't the worst writer in the world, so there's a pretty good chance that he doesn't drop the ball really badly on that one. But it's a story we've all read multiple times. And I'm only talking about stuff from like the last 5 or 6 years. Nothing new, nothing original here. My, oh my, what an exciting story. Next issue, Night Terrors Ravager #1 from writer Ed Brisson and artist Dexter Soy. Deathstroke's daughter's Night Terrors adventure will see Rose Wilson embark on solo mission as she stumbles across a younger version of herself and has to protect her from a villain called the Murder Man and his Slaughter Squadron. The Slaughter Squadron, whatever, man. Ed Brisson's okay from time to time. Actually, I think he's a pretty decent writer. He probably won't drop the ball on here. I really do like Dexter Soy as an artist, but I do not like him as a horror artist. He's much too clean for a book like this, but who was asking for a Rose Wilson one-shot associated with an event that wasn't like a Deathstroke event? Even if it was a Deathstroke event, did anyone ask for a Ravager one-shot? This will move absolute dick. Next issue, while the first part of the Dick Grayson Night Terrors story will see him murder someone he loves dearly, Jason Todd and Tim Drake star in their own Night Terrors Robin miniseries from writer Kenny Porter and artist Miguel Mendoza. This thing will probably look really good, and I really like Tim Drake and Jason Todd, and I guess I'm glad that Megan Fitzmartin's not writing it. She being the person that's absolutely destroyed the character of Tim Drake, so at least she's not on it, but I don't think that Kenny Porter's a big name either. Like, cool, we're going to see Dick Grayson kill somebody he loves. Who's he going to kill? Maybe he can go back in time and kill his parents. That feels like something DC Comics would do these days. Do we think he's going to kill Babs? Is he going to kill Jason Todd? Maybe he'll kill Batman. That's the story that they should tell. That sounds like the feel-good story of the millennium right there. Like, okay, this will just get more and more depressing. And from here, the writers do get worse, but there are a couple of decent writers here at the end. But for the most part, as you can tell, at least they're putting good artists on the book. Miguel Mendoza is somebody who should be a big name in comic books, although I don't think he's quite gotten there yet. Next up, we've got Night Terrors The Flash #1 from writer Alex Packnadell and artist Daniel Bayliss. After the Flash family freed Barry Allen from the dimension Pariah locked him in. Oh yeah, let's bring up the story where they're playing out the exact same story this is going to be. The Scarlet Speedster was able to return home for some quality time with Iris and his other loved ones, but when the world is plunged into the nightmare realm, Barry's trapped in a different cage and he'll have to find a way out on his own. We haven't had enough nightmarish Flash stories, apparently. Do you remember the one where Wally West became a serial killer? And then he pushed Barry Allen out of time like half a second, so he would have to witness all of it, but he actually couldn't intervene in it. That felt like it was pretty nightmarish. Obviously, Heroes in Crisis comes to mind, and I just think this is in poor taste. Why would you do this to the character? Alex Backnadel, whatever. Daniel Bayliss, as far as the artist goes, probably my least favorite on the entire announcements that they have here. But just when you've actually revived the Flash and people are interested in the book again and sales are going up, let's do something else to piss off Flash fans, because you haven't done enough, have you? Let's just ruin every character and make the entire DC Comics universe as hopeless as possible. And if you're going to do that, you got to take the Flash and ruin anything to do with that character, since he's basically the symbol of hope since DC Rebirth. Next issue. Mary Marvel will meet a twisted version of her brother, Teth Shazam, in Night Terror Shazam #1, written by Mark Waid and illustrated by Roger Cruz. This is easily the best creative pairing of the bunch on here. Mark Waid is going to be doing a Shazam run by then. Roger Cruz just did the 1 Minute War with the Flash and Jeremy Adams, so he's been doing some pretty good work lately. Who cares about Mary Marvel, though? They just tried to do a Mary Marvel solo series, and it dropped out of the top 150, on issue #2. No one cares about this character. People care less about Mary Marvel than they do Ravager, and no one cares about that character. Why are we highlighting characters that will never, ever earn any coin? Mary Marvel essentially has no future as DC Comics as any type of moneymaker. She is a supporting character that sits on the fringes, just like Ravager. Why is that? Because Mary Marvel is just a duplicate of Shazam. She's just a female version of that hero, just like Ravager is just a duplicate of Deathstroke. You actually have to do something to make these characters important, and these two characters in particular have been around so long, it's actually impossible to do now. But we're getting to #1, folks. If you're a Mary Marvel fan, I guess you have to jump on board with that one. Night Terror's Green Lantern #1 by writer Jeremy Adams sees Hal Jordan, Kilowog, and the other Lanterns attempt to leave Earth despite a recently imposed quarantine, only to find something scarier than they could have imagined. I personally like Green Lantern more than the Flash, but I don't want to see another one of my favorite writers' runs interrupted early by one of these stupid nightmare scenarios. I remember that happening specifically in the Hawkman series. My favorite writer, Robert Medici, doing a great run on Hawkman. Guess what happens? You're the villain. Kills all momentum in the series. I actually had to drop it because I was tired of all the stupid imagery that was on the covers. It was so bad, just ruining what was an amazing story of hope and redemption for Hawkman himself, so they could do some stupid Scott Snyder fucking stunt gimmick. And now they're going to do that with Green Lantern really early on in the run. I feel bad for Jeremy Adams. It feels like he's been set up for failure. After he finally revives the Flash character, gets the sales up, they kick him off the book, throw him over to Green Lantern, which I think is a good move, and then they give him this horse crap to deal with. Can the guy catch a break? I would say no. The final book is Night Terror Zatanna from writer Dennis Culver and artist David Baldio. Most of the world is trapped in the nightmare realm. One of the few still awake is Zatanna, who must defend her unconscious allies Wonder Woman and Detective Chimp from Insomnia's sleepless nights, led by their horrifying sleepless queen. But the outnumbered Zatanna can't do it alone. She uses her magic to summon any champion that is still awake, which puts her in an unlikely team-up with one of the world's strangest superheroes, the unstoppable Doom Patrol's Robot Man. A Zatanna Robot Man team-up book from Dennis Culver. I mean, not the worst thing in the world. Actually, I would say David Baldion is a worse artist than Daniel Bayliss, so I guess I have to take that one back that I said earlier. But, okay. Does that sound exciting? Oh, no, Wonder Woman and Detective Chip are sleeping. I better watch over them. The real exciting stuff. Let me get Robot Man so I can find the nightmare nights, the sleepless nights with a K. That's real imaginative. It's the same stuff over and over. Like I said, I thought by the end maybe I was going to be able to act like I cared or was excited for any of this. I'm not even excited for the Mark Waid stuff. Why put him on Mary Marvel? I'm not really excited for the Jeremy Adams stuff. I think you're just trying to put an obstacle in front of the writer before it even starts. I'll believe DC Comics can actually make a comic book event worth investing in when they can produce 10 comic books in a month you know, with different titles. It can't just be 2 or 3 issues of the same comic book that are actually worth reading. They haven't done that in probably 3 years at this point. That's how dead DC Comics are. The highs are very, very high, but the lows are very, very low, and they are absolutely low as could be right now. It's just whatever. If you buy it and it's good, I'm glad that you enjoyed it, but I just got through DC Comics Lazarus played it, and I saw what a total clusterfuck this was. I broke it all down, why this was an enormous failure, despite the first issue being damn good. Fell apart immediately. I expect more of the same right here. If you haven't seen this video, definitely check it out right now. There's also a link in the video description.